Greetings, fellow cyberdogs and fellow Minecrafters and fellow mine squatches all over the world. This is the Lockabout with the Lockabout Presents Let's Play Minecraft, the Squatchcraft TFC2 mod pack. Yes, this is the playthrough of my very own Terra Firmacraft mod pack, and we are making progress. Now, you may notice, after this wonderful high five with a stone shovel in your face, whoosh, that I have dug out my space quite a bit larger here. And actually what it is if I've done it properly, it is 9 by 9. Let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the reason I've done that is because eventually we're going to dig this down another 2 blocks. So it's 4 deep and 9 by 9, because this is eventually where our root cellar is going to be, because we will be building a house up above. But it is about 10 o'clock in the morning probably at this point. Let's open up our inventory and click the hourglass and see. Yep, 10 a.m. All right. We're going to get this, whoops, come back here, you. There we go. We're going to get this chunk of wood out of our way so we can exit. Choppa, choppa, there we go. And we're going to head on outside because today we've got a few things we really should do. The first is we should cut some of these trees to make our area a little safer here. But another thing we really need to do is we need to get our first tool going, and that is a saw. Now, we can make that saw out of copper, and that's not a problem. But first we have to get that copper, and without a pick we can't mine for copper, and that means we're going to have to pan for copper. Now, panning for copper has changed to some extent from the last version of Terra Firmacraft, in that panning is done by placing blocks of sand or gravel on the surface and then scooping some up with a gold pan and then sluicing that gold pan underwater. So the first thing we're going to do before we do anything is we're going to take and just get ourselves some flowing water, because that's the first thing we're going to need. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to come out here and dig up some of this gravel. Eventually what I'll be doing, of course, is digging down a couple of layers inside our house, and that's going to give us a lot of gravel because the floor in there is mostly gravel. But right now I just want to get enough gravel so that I can show you how this is done, and hopefully we can start collecting some copper. Now, when we sluice like this, we have a possibility of finding copper, native platinum, or gold. All right, but we're just going to eat some of our cherries and sip some of our water, and actually we better just jog over here to our fresh water source and just refill our jug before we forget. There we go. Should fill it right there. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to where it is that I dug this little moving water source. Basically, when we pan, what it does is it searches the entire area that we're in, basically 100 blocks. So let me just show you what we got to do here. The first thing we've got to do is make a gold pan. And you remember we made our ceramic bowls when we fired them in our pit kiln. Well, if you take a ceramic bowl and drop it in your crafting grid, it will convert it to a gold pan. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this gravel and we're just going to place it down. Oops, except that one fell in. Let's get rid of that one. We don't have to, but... So what we're going to do is take our gold pan, we're going to right-click on the gravel, and then we're going to right-click in the flowing water. And that is the entire process. Now, later, we will be able to create an actual sluice that somewhat automates this process. But you can see there's a random chance each time we scoop up some of this gravel that the gravel block may disappear. You get 5 clicks before you're done sluicing out that gravel. And if you're doing this and you hear a pop, that means we've picked up a piece of ore. But I wanted to show you this because, oh, there we go. So the whole reason we made multiple bowls is because there is a random chance that our gold pan could break while we're sluicing. Now, you can sluice gravel, and it doesn't make a difference where the gravel is from. It all works out about the same. But what this is doing is this is searching 25 blocks down and in every direction, and it's searching for a random chance of ores. Now it seems like whether it's fresh water or it's salt water doesn't make a difference, okay? Now you can see I can actually grab some of the sand from right there as long as it's above that moving water source and sluice that sand. The difference between gravel and sand is that with sand there's a chance that you might find gems. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw some more gravel up here. There we go. And keep on panning for a little bit. But really, we really need to find ourselves 10 pieces of native copper by sluicing in this fashion. Either that or find it laying on the ground, either copper or tetrahedrite or malachite. And that's basically our means by which we can come up with the copper for our first tool. Our first tool will be a saw. By making a saw, we can expand our crafting grid. We can start, well, kind of playing some Minecraft, for lack of a better way to express it. But we can pan like this until we've panned out an area. And when that happens, it'll give us a message that says this area is overworked and you're not likely to find much. But wow, we haven't hit a single piece of ore yet. Yep, this area seems to be overworked. You probably wouldn't find much. So that means that now in this chunk, we've completely panned it out. And we'd have to move to the next chunk. But because of where the sun is, I think instead of continuing to do that, we're going to come over and we're going to start cutting the trees that are closest to the entrance of our hidey hole. So there's our hidey hole entrance. So I think we're going to start with this guy right here. It's providing an awful lot of shade. I've made like 4 axes because we're going to go through at least 2 axes on every one of these sequoia trees, and we might go through 3. All right, there was the first axe. You might have seen there was a little wood that popped off to one side there. There we go. Getting closer. This one's got a little bit of durability left on it. It might be enough to finish this out. There we go. And so we'll collect all that sequoia wood. We're also going to collect the stick. We're getting shy on them again. And I think then the next one is probably going to be this tree over here. I'm going to see how far I can get in this process. We're getting awful close to dark. But because the mobs can hide in the shadows and the mobs are superpowered in this mod, TFC has got superpower mods, we're going to most definitely want to get these trees down. Let's see if we can manage to get this one clear before we go hiding. Alright, and this one. This should finish it off. So far we're being very fortunate about mobs, so we're going to see if we can finish. Come on, you. Taking a long time. There we go. Alright, let's collect up this wood. I think that's all of it. And we got to get into safety. And we lucked out. There are no mobs close enough to see us, so we won't have to worry about anybody following us in. But we are going to place our block right there just in case. But now we've got plenty of room to, place those down. But I'm going to start digging out because, like I say, we want to go 4 deep. And I'm just going to use up the rest of my shovel here. There we go, that was the rest of our shovel. But we're gonna, now that I've got that down one, let's just make one more shovel here. We'll be able to just drop that, so it's not important right now. And we're gonna take and make a shovel So holding our stones in our hands, we right click and that opens up our knapping interface. We take all of the stone off on both sides and then remove the bottom two corners. That's going to give us our shovel head, and we place that up there along with the stick. You can see I'm very low on sticks at the moment, but that's going to give us our shovel. And what I want to do basically is get this down 4 deep over on this side, so then what we can do is we can put down all the sequoia wood that we had located, and it's also going to give us more gravel to pan as we go here. And a little flint too. There we go. Now, the reason I'm digging it this way, taking off layers like that, is because you can see that block just collapsed down. Well, we wanna make sure we don't drop a block on our head, so. I'm just gonna go till the shovel breaks, which should be just a few more blocks, really. There we go. But we're just gonna take and make some wood piles over here with this sequoia wood. So I shift and click, and that starts the wood pile. And then we just keep right clicking, and you can see in the interface up above it says log pile, sequoia logs 9, 10, 11, 12, and we can hold 16 logs in a log pile. And again, shift, click to start the log pile. And we'll actually be 1 log short for this log pile. So let's grab this guy here and drop that last log in there. And by doing this, it'll allow us to store the wood and get it out of our inventory, of course. And it'll also allow us to pick up some of this gravel and that kind of stuff. There we go. That one's almost full. This guy here. And as you can see, by right-clicking it, what it does is, with an empty hand, is it actually exposes the pile. Now we can pick up this stuff over here. And we're just going to get the rest of this wood placed down in a wood pile. So that's out of our inventory. So there's a number of different ways that we can come up with the copper that we need in order to make our saw. One is to just wander around and hopefully find one of the copper-bearing ores sitting on the surface. All right. And the copper-bearing ores are tetrahedrite, native copper, which are copper nuggets, and then there's also malachite. There we go. Getting there. Oh, now, don't be that way. Drop those in there. One more. There we go. Drop those in there. And we're almost done. Let's see, this is dirt. This is gravel. So we want to keep the gravel. You can see that things stack to 32. A lot of things actually stack to 32 here in this mod. So let's see. Yeah, we got a space over here. And then we've got 2 left over. And we will eventually move our other wood over here. But at the moment, I'm not too worried about that, because we're going to have to shift this stuff. But by making this 4 deep and 9 by 9, it's the largest dimensions possible for when we make our root cellar. Get these guys up. There we go. Let's check the time here. It's hour 2. We've got 3 in-game hours before the sun comes up and the mobs start to burn away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here and make a few more axes, because we're definitely going to need them. And I shall return when the sun comes up or all hell breaks loose. Alright guys, I am back. It's actually almost noon, but I was taking the time to dig out the rest of this space and getting things set in such a way that we can get everything shifted. And we're just about set here. We're just going to get these items down, and we're going to add these to our pile here. And there we go. It allows us to pick this up. We're going to get rid of the dirt and things outside, but we're now down to our 4x4. Let's go ahead and head on up out. I think we're going to come right over here to this hole in the ground, which is really serving no purpose other than being a hole in the ground. And we're just going to toss those piles of dirt in there. We're also going to toss the sand in there. You can see we've got, I made a whole bunch more axes. So we're going to get those down here where we have access to them, as well as our water jug and our cherries. And step very carefully to make sure we don't wreck ourselves here. I think this guy's definitely the next one that's got to go. All this sequoia is actually going to be the raw material for our house once we get a saw so we can start cutting planks. Now we could build our house out of these wooden blocks, cut, just raw sequoia blocks. But the thing is that it's not a very efficient use of wood. So get this guy knocked down. There we go. Good deal. So we got a bunch more sequoia wood there. That's starting to look a whole lot safer. I think we'll actually come over here and we're just gonna get our knife out. We're gonna cut this, see if we can get a few more sticks from it before we chop it down. This white cedar. Not a single stick out of all that. Well, that was pretty unproductive. Let's knock this fella out of here. There we go. And we need to dump what? Oh, we'll dump these 10 gravel. That way we can pick that stuff up. And we'll probably eventually take down maybe this sequoia here and this sequoia here, but at the moment I'm more concerned about just mowing the lawn, basically. Oops, there went my knife though. I'll have to make another one quick. You just divide it right down the middle and we click, and I'm only going to make one knife because I don't really have room for two. So we're gonna drop that guy there. Put him up there. There we go. Because we need a knife to cut that thatch. So we're just going to come through, get all of this thatch here. These little bushes will also provide thatch. At the moment, we are going to leave the goldenrod flowers because, of course, they mark the location of clay, and we're going to be needing a lot of clay eventually here, but oh goodness, we got more wood, huh? Alright, well, we're going to get rid of another pile of... Wow, so there were 16 sequoia logs there? Amazing. Alright, well, let's get rid of this totally wrecked axe then. But that is boxwood, so we don't get any thatch for that. Go. We're just gonna cut these boxwoods and like those little guys and just let them despawn overnight, because we want to clear this up. Northern pitcher plants, same thing. We're gonna cut them down. Almost feels like a sin to me. Pitcher plants are a protected species up in Michigan where I grew up. But like I say, we are gonna leave the goldenrod for now. But we're going to need ourselves a lot of thatch very, very soon. So might as well do that. Can you believe it's getting dark again already? Of course, like I say, I work till noon inside, so... I think we just hit our maximum. Yep. Alright. Well, back inside I go. And our torches are probably going to go out real soon, but we're going to continue to pile the wood, but not that way. That would not be very efficient. Got to shift right click. There we go. Just 2 of them there. So shift click to fill it. Let's move these guys down here. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, and then fill this guy up. Shift click to fill that guy up. Now it's important to learn how to do these log piles because they're how we're going to eventually produce coal. We're going to produce charcoal by creating a big stack of logs like this that we're actually going to cover over with soil and set on fire to create a charcoal fire. Let's see here. And that leaves us 2 left over. And that's okay because we really do need to create a new fire pit. So we're going to get 3 sticks there, 1 piece of thatch, and our fire starter. And I guess we'll do it over here in this corner here. So just toss the 3 sticks down, toss the 1 piece of thatch, and then we just hit it with our fire starter, and there we go. We have got ourselves a fire. I'm just going to do that. Hopefully it won't catch on fire. I don't think it will. And we're good to go. So there we are. So our hidey hole is quite a bit bigger now, but it's also set up now so that when the time comes that we start building up above, when we've got our saw so that we can create lumber, we're going to be able to start creating the blocks necessary using thatch and lumber and clay to create our food cellar. Let's see, we've opened ourselves up quite a bit more room here. We're going to keep these on us because they're going to be very important for our gold panning in case we break any. Let's come on over and pick up this jug here. About that one right there. Shift right click, and we just get it in our hot bar, and we're going to put our red bell pepper seeds in there. Anything else we can put in there? Yeah, actually we can store a bunch of this clay. Let's do that. So let's put this fella back down and pick up that one there. Do the same thing. We'll just open it up and we'll just store all this extra clay in it because we don't need it for now. Oh, white cedar. You can mix the wood that's in wood piles. There we go. And let's put our flint in there as well. There we go. We're just going to put that down on the floor. And there we go. And how's our water doing? We've still got plenty of water. We've got 2 full jugs, and we've got that guy. Like I say, I'm kind of expecting our... can I place a spindle? I don't think I can. Can I? Nope, not it's a spindle. We actually need a tool rack, and we're not equipped for a tool rack yet. But we really, really, like right now, need to grab a log out of there and go place it up here so that we don't get any mobs coming in. There we go. All right, well, here I am settled into my hidey hole again, but we've made progress today. We got the majority of those sequoias cut, so now we're a whole lot safer in terms of not having an area that the mobs are going to be able to just hide out and kill us instantly when we come out. We've managed to dig our hole 9 by 9 by 4 deep for what will eventually be our root cellar. We've got a ton of wood piled up, so when we get our saw, we'll be able to produce a whole bunch of lumber and actually probably have enough to build our home. And we've still got a couple of sequoias we can knock down. I think we're looking mighty good, but now the key is minerals. And that means we're probably going to have to do some exploring. And so before we do that, we're going to make sure that we have got ourselves a distance weapon. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start making some javelin heads. To make javelin heads, take off the 2 opposite corners, then take off those 2 points and those 2 points. All right. Then take off the bottom corner and take off those 2 points, and there you go, 1 javelin head. So we're going to actually make 4 of those. And you'll see why in just a moment here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go, another javelin head. E to exit that, then right click to get back to it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's a javelin head. Ooh, we need to eat. We're starving particles here. But these cherries are not going to last much longer. Here we go. Let's drink some water. Alright, so let's make our last javelin head here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. There we go. And as you see, tool heads stack. But now what we're going to do is put those up there along with our sticks. We're going to just shift click to get all of them. Now the reason I made 4 of them is because I'm going to place them here on the left side, all in a row. Alright. Now the reason for that is that to throw a javelin, we right click, and you'll notice that I now have a javelin in my hand again. Okay, so that's why we place them like that, because it will allow us to have our javelins and throw multiple javelins in a row, always having a fresh javelin come to hand as long as we've got them. Now later when we have a quiver, we'll be able to store 8 javelins in the quiver plus have 1 javelin in hand to start the process, and we'll be able to throw a lot of javelins. These javelins are very weak. We recover them just like we recover the arrows, but they will take damage each time we hit a living creature with them. But in our next episode, because we're out of time, we're already at 26 minutes. In our next episode, we're going to go do a little searching around here, see if we can find any tetrahedrite or any native copper, any malachite. I don't know how we're going to do. We might find tetrahedrite. But we're also going to do a little hunting, because it's time for us to see if we can find some other important resources. We need to find a type of flux stone, which is either going to be borax, which we find in salt rock salt I should say, or if we can find chalk, or we can find dolomite, or we can find marble. That will also work as flux stone. Flux stone has lime as its base, and if we crush that stone and add it to water, we can begin to process hides and make leather. But I will be back in our next episode. Thank you so much for joining me, the Lakaba, the log-wielding Sasquatch. I know I'm kind of short for a Sasquatch, but that's okay. Thank you for joining me. Here's a Minecraft high five with a log in your face. And I will see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.